Hey everyone, welcome back to Hero Wars Guide. I wanted to put a video out today as the first week of Winterfest is winding down to talk about which of the gifts are the most valuable and why. So in this video I'm going to give just, it's going to go from the least detailed to the most, so if you want to get into the detail of all the calculations, stick it out to the end, otherwise you can just drop off as you see fit. So I'm going to talk about which ones are the best and why. I'll show you some of the numbers behind these calculations. And then I'm going to talk about how I determine the emerald value of items in general as a standard practice across gifts as well as everything else. That has caused a little bit of an inadvertent controversy in the YouTube and Discord world of Hero Wars. So I just want to give a little bit more context as to how I go about what I do in that realm. Sorry if I sound a little bit worse than usual here. I had my booster yesterday and I'm not feeling 100% yet. But anyway, let's get into this. Okay, so a quick summary of the gifts. The best one, in my opinion, is the skin, and that only goes until you have them all. But those skins are exclusive to Winterfest. This is the only way to get them all year long, so if you've got a hero that depends on the skin, then this is really your only chance to do it. And also, if you were to just compare the value of this skin in comparison to what it normally costs to get any other skin of 5,000 stones, then 4,000 emeralds is a really good value to get a full skin out of that, especially when you consider that you should be only sending one a day, and then you effectively get 2 skins for 4,000 emeralds. So that's why I put that one at the top. I think that's the very best thing to get until you've got all of them that you're concerned with. Then after that, the Titan Artifact and Pet gifts are both great value. They're worth thinking about sending even more than one a day. I think it's maybe not the absolute best in the game, but they hold up the best, I think, in the long term. And then the good gifts, the ones that are worth doing once a day, I believe are the skins. After you've collected them all, you still get 1,500 skin stones. And if you're doing that once a day, you get 3,000 skin stones for 4,000 emeralds. So that's a little bit better than the value that you would get from the outland chests. So if you're someone who spends your emeralds there, then the skin exchange, 1 per day, is going to be a little bit better than that. Same goes for the Titan Souls. Obviously, if that's not a resource you're interested in anymore, then it won't be very good, but at a raw emerald value, it's good to do 1 a day there. And then there's an empty category here that I created for the gifts that range from bad to okay. But I still wanted to put that in there just to emphasize how bad the final gift is. The Ascension gift is just absolutely horrible value and is in its own category way below everything else. So I don't think that's worth doing even 1 a day. And there are some considerations beyond all this, like if you're someone who's on the cusp of getting the lesser spirit summoning spear, then those are worth something like 200,000 emeralds on average. So that can still be worth a lot to you and might cause you to send out more gifts. But generally speaking, I think these are the relative values of the gifts themselves. Alright, so I'll get into a little bit of detail on how I arrived at those conclusions. Okay, I have loaded up here on the screen the list of the 5 gifts that are available on the Winterfest gift exchange. And what you can see is just the name of the gift, how many emeralds worth of value is contained on average, how many of them that I've opened to arrive at that conclusion, and then a little bit of detail that I'll get into in a second. So I want to prefix this by saying this one in particular, it's not a huge volume that would tell me that I'm 100% spot on with the emerald value of these things. But these are good enough, I think, to make me pretty confident in the relative percentage that each prize is going to come out of the thing. In this, I think 28's kind of low, but it's enough to make me confident that I'm in the right ballpark, and I'll show how it might look even if it turns out to be just really unlucky in my particular openings. It's still going to end up being a really bad value. All right, so just to go down the list really quickly here, the Titan Soulstone gift, that's going to cost you 150 emeralds worth of coin to send out, since it costs 750 coin, and the coin can be purchased at a 5-to-1 ratio against the emerald. So you're spending 150, and you get 79 back here. But keep in mind, for the first one that you're sending out each day, you send one out, hopefully you're getting one back from whoever you send it to, and then the game will reward you with another of the same gift for the first one you send out. So if you're only doing one a day, you're spending 150, and then you get 160 roughly back in value. And then you're also getting the 2 soul stones, which I credit as a value of 25 emeralds each. And that's, it's a little fuzzy, but the reason I assign that value is that the shop coins that you can get at the soul store buy item fragments at about 1/4 of the effectiveness of emeralds. So if you have a soul stone, then you get 100 of those shop coins, and with that you can buy 25 emeralds worth of item fragments. Okay, so your first a day, then you're getting about 200 out of this thing, and then if you do repeated sends, then you get this roughly 80 plus the 50 emerald worth of soul stones, gets you up to 130. So it's a little shy of the cost of 150. So that's why, if you remember, I put it into that good for one a day exchange category. The pets, though, this is a great value here. These next two are both really strong, in my opinion here. They cost 350 emeralds worth of coins, and then within each gift you get 236 emeralds worth of resources, but then you also get 100 emeralds worth of those soul stones. So right there, it's almost even money there. It's 336 emeralds of value against 350 spent. So you might not want to go too crazy on these things, but if you are thinking about how you end up in the Winterfest ranking, then maybe this is a good place to do it. And also, if you buy a certain number of gifts as a guild, you are getting those free Titan artifact gifts or random gifts below that before you max out the tree. So with this being relatively even money, this might be a good place for you to focus. And then the Titan artifact here is really strong as well. You get, on average, 726 emeralds worth of value from opening one up. So, your first a day, that's almost 1,500, something like 1,450 emerald worth of value when you're spending 1,000. So the first one out of the day is really good. You get the 1,450 and then another 250 worth from the stone. So really 1,700 for the first. And then even after your first one, you're getting 726 from the gift exchange and 250 emerald worth of soul stones. So it's again almost even money. The skins, the value I have listed here is the value of the emerald value of 5,000 skin stones. So this really is only going to apply for so long as you don't have all of the skins, but even after you have them all, you still get 1,500 skin stones, which is worth roughly 2175, and you're spending 4,000 emerald to send this gift. So when you consider that you're getting 2 for 1 on that first per day, I think this can still make sense. And then also, keep in mind 1,000 emerald worth of soul stones. And finally here, the Ascension gift, as I mentioned, is very low value here. This costs 2,000 to send out, but it's only worth 300 on average. And you get 500 emeralds worth of soulstones. So even with the soulstone emerald value, you don't even break even on the first exchange per day. So I think this is really a huge one to avoid. All right, so I will move on to a quick breakdown of how what I got out of these gifts and how that equates to emerald value. Okay, this sheet is showing a breakdown of the individual opens, and let me filter it down to just the relevant gift entries here. Okay, I'll make this a little larger. Okay, so I'm just going to go in order here. First, we're looking at the Ascension gift, and you know, that is tending to most frequently is giving the crystal reward at a quantity of 30. And then you do get some of the other resources. It looks like there's some randomness to how many insignia you get out of it, but it tends to hover around 10, which is a pretty small amount. You can get eternal seeds, which is the grand prize without question here, but it doesn't come up very often. And you know, 10, that's the same that you might get out of the astral seer. You can get radiant and vibrant crystal as well, but it's kind of a mediocre quantity, and same thing with greater insignia. You know, each time one of these prizes hits at the astral seer, it's on average for an insignia, it's going to be 20 to 25, and for any of the types of crystal, it's 25 to 30 on average. So, you know, when you consider these things cost 2,000 and an astral seer spin is 300, even if you don't buy any of my emerald calculations, that right there should tell you that these things are not worth doing. And one note on how I mentioned that this value is weak, even if I happen to do particularly poorly on my opens. If I modify the odds on this to be 3 times as good as they are, you know, that was just under 4%, I'm going to change it to 12. The emerald value here is still only 600, so even the one a day, it doesn't quite measure up. So again, even if I was very unlucky, this is still extremely low value. Okay, so moving on to pets. You can see these rows here. You can get chaos particles between 50 and 100, pet potions, which come unfortunately the most often, either 1 or 3,000. You can get the pet soul boxes on rare occasion, or pet summoning eggs every now and then as well. So all of these are decent prizes. Some of you may have most likely maxed out your pet levels, in which case these pet potions are going to be somewhat unappealing, but they're not a huge share of the emerald value of these gifts anyway. Even though they come up somewhat frequently, it's really the other prizes that gives the pet gift its worth. So that's some of the detail there. The Titan Artifact gift, this is probably the best one out of the mix, just because these elemental certificates, which are the big prizes, are really likely to be useful for the very, very long term. You can exchange those for skin stone boxes, so even after you have any of the heroes out of that shop that you're looking for, these things are probably going to be useful for forever, because you need kind of an unlimited number of skin stones. So they might drop in packs of 10, or on rare occasion you'll get 50 in a decent frequency as well. Out of, I think I've opened a little over 100 of these things, and I've gotten the 10 certificate package 17 times, and I've hit the 53. This is across a few different servers, but I don't think that's going to matter. So yeah, 124 openings in all. So those are the grand prizes, but then you can also get a little bit of the elemental tournament coins, or the essence of the elements, and some of these other things as well. The seal boxes, where you choose your type. or just some raw Titan artifact spheres can come out of the thing. So that's a good gift overall. Not really any terrible prizes in the mix there. And then finally, the Titan Soulstone gift. You can get the potions, which are probably the least value, or various amounts of soulstones. And the reason I say these are the least value is any of these soulstones can be exchanged for more potions than you get here once you're trading them in for the Titan Soul coin. Alright, so I'm going to wrap up here by talking about how I assign emerald values to things that have a mixed set of gifts, like the Astral Seer, or the Hero Artifact Chest, or these gift packages, or anything like that, where you open one type of resource and then you get a random amount of several different resource types. And I'm not saying that this is a perfect approach, but I think it can get us reasonably close to understanding how much these various resources are worth. Sorry. And I know there's a little bit of some arguing back and forth on Discord between people who passionately agree with me and people who passionately disagree. And I just hope with this to provide a little bit more insight to how I go about doing this and where it might be useful. All right, so I'm going to talk about the case of the Heroic Artifact Chest here. I have a larger volume of data here that I can talk about than with the Astral Seer, and hopefully it'll make clear. Really, it's the same approach that I do for all of those other situations as well, so I think it'll carry over. So in this case, I had a volume of 9822 recorded artifact chest openings, and that split out to the resources that you can see below. And that I don't have a great icon for this, but that is 219,000 of the gray artifact materials. So whether it's the essence for weapons, or scrolls for books, or the metal for rings, that's leading to the material. And the reason I can group all those together is you do have that ability to exchange at least one way, where an orange is worth 16, and violet is worth 8, blue is worth 4, green is worth 2. And so this is the total quantity in terms of gray. Not that I'm advocating exchanging them down, but that's just one way to measure them all into one category. And then the coins, in that similar vein there, you might get coins, you might get ring fragments, you might get weapon fragments, you might get the book fragments, but those can be purchased for 400 coins. Or if you have spares of a weapon, maybe you have an absolute star, then you can sell those for 50. I've chosen to take the optimistic value there, where a ring or a book or a weapon are all worth, I've counted them all as 400 coin worth of value. And then once you get to a certain artifact chest level, I believe it's 6, you get 60,000 coin for each level that you go up, and it takes 1,000 keys to go up a chest level. So effectively, each key gets you 60 coin worth of the level up prize there. So I got 1,000,000 coin of direct value from either the coins or the fragments, and then I'm saying it's also getting me 60 coin per key as well. And then this number of keys also led to 1461 chaos cores. All right, and so then if you divide that out, where I had 9,800 some keys, this is saying per key that costs 75 emeralds, and on average it will give you 22.1 of the material, 162 of the coin, and 0.15 chaos cores. And I'm not trying to say here that every single time you use a key you're going to get a sixth or seventh of a chaos core, obviously, but in average over the long term, this is what you can expect to get over a large volume of keys. And then if you allocate a third of the cost there to each of the various types, then that's saying 25 emeralds is worth 22 of the material, 162 of the coin, and 25 emeralds is worth 0.15 chaos core. So, if you wanted to look at that the other way around, if you wanted to say one of these is going to be worth slightly more than one emerald, it's 1.08 or something, and then it takes, each coin is worth something like 1/7 of an emerald, and each chaos core is worth something like 160 emeralds. And then, so what I did is I used those values then to predict how much resources I would get out of a certain number of openings. So what you see here is listed in the rows is 3 approximate levels worth of artifact chest key openings. And this is separate from the 9822 that I used up above to get my original values, but I'm using that to predict what I'm going to get out of these various openings. And so, I used 922 keys, which is costs this many emeralds at the 100 per opening level, and the emerald values that I use would then expect that to generate 20,000, like just under 20,500 of the material, and the actual was almost spot on, at just over 20,500. Coin also, my expected amount is 150k. The actual did a little bit better, and then the chaos core, same thing. I expected for this number of keys based on my emerald values to get 140.8, and the actual was 145. So this batch exceeded expectations in all categories. And I'm not going to read item for item here, but you can see that each one of these, was within 5 or so percent at a fairly high. Any reasonably high volume of openings is going to yield this approximate value of results. Okay, so I think these emerald values can be a really good predictor of how much you're going to get for a certain amount of spend. Okay, so the way you'd apply all that information then is that if the game is offering you some other amount of one of these resources for a certain amount of emeralds, then you'd want to compare it against these values to decide whether or not it's worthwhile. If they're saying they want to give you artifact coins, and from this that when you spend 23,000 emeralds, you're going to get 150,000 artifact coins. I say 23,000 there because it's a third of the amount that you spend. You actually get the artifact coins and the chaos cores and the material, of course, but if you allocate just the portion to coins, that's a third of 69,000 is about 23,000. So anyway, if you're going to get from 23,000 emerald about 150,000 artifact coin, then if something else in the game comes along and it's saying you can have 100,000 artifact coin for 23,000 emeralds, then that's bogus. You want something that is going to give you a better rate of exchange than what you've seen here. So that's the practical application of all of this math and why it can make sense to figure some of these things out. All right, so with all that said, I'm very interested to hear any feedback you guys have on this approach, how I'm going about doing my calculations. But really, I'm most interested in anything that might be done to better arrive at an emerald value for these various resources, rather than any vague statements about how it's fuzzy and a value can't be assigned. And you can say that it's fuzzy and be correct, but that really isn't helping anyone, because at the end of the day, people need to make a decision on how they spend their resources, and you can't look at two things that you've said are fuzzy and make any kind of intelligent decision about which one is more valuable. I think you need to have some kind of numeric representation, and so that's why I'm interested in any approach to do that that maybe is better than mine. Mine is not necessarily the best in the world, but I think it is reasonably accurate. You know, with any one opening of a gift versus an astral seer spin, you might get better results from the gift, but over the long term, I think when you use these emerald value calculations, it's going to give you better predictions of where you will get the most value over time. All right, I know this was a lot of detail. I hope it made sense and helped some of you guys out to understand how I'm putting numbers on all these things in my videos. All right, you know, if you learned anything here, in particular, just the quick conclusions on which gifts are best, that's something that I'd recommend you share out with your guild so that you can exchange the ones that are giving you the best value. Thanks for your time.